All right, so it's time to talk about the defending champs, the Golden State Warriors. And the reason I want to talk about the Warriors is because I'm just going to go out on record right now and make a prediction. Not that it's a hot take or anything like that, but the Warriors are my pick to win the championship. So that means I think the Warriors are going to repeat. And there are a few reasons why I think the Warriors are going to repeat. And, you know, I'm always high on the Warriors. If you have followed this channel for a minute now, you know that I am a big Steph Curry fan. He is probably my second favorite player ever behind Allen Iverson. I've always been high on the Warriors. I was high on the Warriors last season. Before last season started, I did a video about why I think the Warriors should be considered a contender. And it was a little rocky of a path. There were injuries, you know. The big three really didn't play together that much during the regular season. I just trusted the infrastructure. I've seen those guys win championships before. And yes, I know they won 2 of them with Kevin Durant. But I mean, a championship's a championship. And they were a big part of it, obviously. And Durant obviously helped. But they're 3-time champions. They had the experience, the infrastructure of their play style, which is unique compared to any other team in the NBA. So I was high on them last year, and I'm high on them again this year. I actually think they're going to be better than last year. So first, let's go over, I know they had some key losses in the offseason. They did not bring back Nemanja Bjelica. Gary Payton II signed with the Portland Trail Blazers. Otto Porter is now in Toronto. Juan Toscano Anderson is no longer on the team, even though he was kind of phased out of the rotation anyway by the end of the season and really didn't play much in the playoffs. And Damian Lee, kind of the same thing, a fringe rotation guy, but he was there before, you know, last season. He was there during the 15-win season and all that, but he is in Phoenix now. And I think, you know, obviously Gary Payton played a key role for the Warriors all year. He's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. He actually shot really well from 3, which, you know, was aided by the Warriors' spacing and their play style. He kind of found a role as like a roll man, but really as a roll guard. Usually bigs are the roll man, but with Gary Payton's vertical leap, he was the roll man, and the Warriors kind of used him in a lot of different ways. And with the Warriors' unique play style, they can kind of utilize unique players like Gary Payton II. But I still think the Warriors filled out some holes nicely in free agency. They obviously brought in Dante DiVincenzo, which I thought was one of the smarter offseason signings out of any team in the NBA. If you're trying to mold a perfect player to put on the Warriors, that's Dante DiVincenzo, a smart cutter, an intuitive connective passer. He's springy, has some athleticism, he can shoot, and also he's a solid defender. And, you know, he was obviously hampered by that just gruesome ankle injury that he suffered in the playoffs the year the Bucks won the NBA title. And it took a bit for him to get back, but when he got traded to the Sacramento Kings last year, DiVincenzo kind of bounced back, shot 38% from 3. The Warriors were able to get him on the cheap, and I think it's going to piss a lot of people off how good Dante DiVincenzo will be for the Warriors. And then they brought in Jerami Green. Now, Jerami Green is like a 4-5 hybrid at 6'8", and he had a down year shooting the 3-ball with the Nuggets last year, but that dude, you could put him across any lineups in your rotation. And before his down shooting year last season, I mean in 2020, 2021, he shot 39%. The year before that, he shot 38%. And then the year before that, he shot 40%. He's a career 36.6% three-point shooter, but with the spacing and the versatility off of that spacing that the Warriors are going to provide, Jerami Green, I think, is going to be a really good fit, especially when he's like, you know, your 9th man. That was a great pickup for the Warriors. Also, I think the Warriors youth movement, it's time for them to finally step in and, you know, contribute. And Jordan Poole did that last year. Well, actually, going all the way back to 2020-21 when, you know, he went to the G League bubble, came back, put up really good numbers, and then last year he built off of that, and now, you know, there are obviously contract talks right now, but Jordan Poole is definitely going to get a bag, so he was already established in the championship run last year. But now it's time for Moses Moody to fill that gap that was left by Gary Payton II and Otto Porter. Moody played a few minutes in the Western Conference Finals as a rookie. That is not nothing. And also Moody had a really fantastic summer league. I really liked the draft pick at the time too. I think Moody is primed for a big second year as a defender, as a three-point shooter, someone who can attack a closeout, and is also just a smart, even-keeled player. I'm really excited to see what Moody brings this year. Jonathan Kuminga, though I still don't know exactly what he's going to be on offense yet, the defensive potential is undeniable. His athleticism is undeniable. His size is undeniable. I just need to figure out what position he is, what player he'll be offensively, but that is just another great tool for the Warriors to use in their unique system. And then James Wiseman, who we all forgot about last year, except for Warriors fans, obviously. The Warriors picked him second in the 2020 draft, and I'm excited. If anybody, of course, saw the preseason game on Friday morning against the Washington Wizards, that is the template. That is the template for James Wiseman. If James Wiseman can just roll to the rim, be by the dunker spot, set screens, be involved in dribble handoffs, block shots, rebound like a menace, there is a role for James Wiseman on this team where I think he'll excel because, you know, he's super athletic, he's super long, and he's going to be healthy this year. This is the perfect type of role, the DeAndre Ayton-esque role that he took on in the 2020-21 playoffs. If James Wiseman follows that template, then it allows him to build a concrete foundation to then build the house on top of the foundation, and he can expand his game in future years, and it'll help his development, kind of like DeAndre Ayton. And that preseason game against the Wizards was the template. And not to mention, he'll have better teammates this time around than the last time he played, where he was playing with guys like Kent Bazemore and Kelly Oubre, etc., etc. Now he has better teammates around him, obviously the big three, but also players who kind of know and fit the Warriors' cutting style type of basketball. Also, the Warriors never really had a vertical threat like this, and Steph has probably never had a pick and roll center with vertical threat like this. Not that the Warriors run much pick and roll anyway, but now that is a tool. The Warriors with Wiseman now can play different types of styles. Of course, the Warriors' signature small ball with Draymond at center. Then you put in Wiseman, the big athletic center. And also Wiseman can take advantage of mismatches. And because the Warriors have a smart, intuitive system with passing and all that stuff, they'll be able to find Wiseman on the mismatches. And they can bring along Wiseman slowly off the bench because Kavon Looney is going to start, and Kavon Looney was one of the unsung heroes of the Warriors' playoff run. Whenever Looney was in those lineups, so many offensive rebounds, it broke teams. Looney knows how to play the Warriors style. He sets really great screens. He realizes he's not going to get a lot of shots created on his own. It's going to be off of his teammates, and he just plays his role. And Looney is the perfect starting center to go ahead of Wiseman while Wiseman comes along slowly, because Looney is good. Looney is a good player, has been an Iron Man, a menace on the glass too. And if Steve Kerr feels like, you know, he needs to roll with a different matchup, Looney has no problem adjusting to whatever Steve Kerr asks him to do. It's a great thing that the Warriors were able to at least re-sign Kavon Looney, because they did have a slew of free agents like Gary Payton II, etc., that they weren't able to bring back. Another reason I think the Warriors are going to be even better this year, the big three really didn't play that much during the regular season. They only played 11 minutes together. Now, I know what people are going to say. Well, the big three always had chemistry because they played together for so long. And yeah, some of that is true, but there is something to say when Klay Thompson is now, you know, another year removed from all those devastating injuries that he had. And while there is still natural chemistry between the big three, you could tell they were still building into that as the playoffs were going along. Now they're going into season with a training camp, preseason, and that to me will forge their chemistry even further. And when the big three's chemistry gets forged together even further, that benefits the entire team as a whole. Only playing 11 minutes in the regular season is pretty wild, considering that the Warriors kind of had to figure some stuff out on the fly on the way to the championship, because it was a rocky road last year. There were injuries. Draymond Green was hurt after being the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. Then the minute Draymond Green comes back, Steph Curry hurts his foot, and then you're kind of worried about how he's going to look in the playoffs. It was a rocky road for the Warriors, and they still won the championship. Now they're coming in completely with a clean bill of health to all of their big rotation guys. The young guys are another year older. Not only that, the championship swagger and confidence that comes with winning an NBA Finals, because, there were questions if this group could win it again. And that question has now been thoroughly answered. There is a different type of steel that you play with after winning the championship, a certain type of confidence. They have that along with the young guys. I think their offense can actually get better. The Warriors offense only finished 17th in the regular season, and that kind of coincided with Draymond's injury a little bit. Before January 9th, the offense was better. It was still 14th, but it was better. Then afterwards, it started falling some more to 19th because, the injuries, trying to reintegrate Klay, figuring out different lineups. Then Steph's injury happens. So the Warriors really, you think, of Warriors of yesteryear, you think of the dominant offense. Their offense was middle of the road, and I think that will not be the case this year. I would be shocked if the Warriors didn't finish at least in the top 8 in terms of offensive rating. Their defense was fantastic all year. Even after January 9th, when everything started slipping a little bit, they were still 6th. But before January 9th, the Warriors defense was 1st, and that, of course, coincided with Draymond Green being healthy. I think the defense can get even better this year because Andrew Wiggins was fantastic all playoffs, and I think that's going to carry in to next season. And Andrew Wiggins was good all last regular season, to be clear, but I feel like he reached a new level in the playoffs. And so now that you got a full training camp and preseason to integrate everybody together, some of the Warriors' best lineups in the playoffs destroyed teams, and they found their rhythm with some lineups in the playoffs, which is the scary thing because they can work on that some more heading into this season. On the screen, I'm going to put up the Warriors' 3 best lineups they used in the playoffs. The offensive rating for all of those lineups were off the charts, and all of those guys are coming back minus Porter, of course. But now you can integrate DiVincenzo, Moses Moody, maybe a little Jonathan Kuminga sprinkled in there. Even Pat Baldwin Jr., who the Warriors drafted, I'm intrigued by him just because of his size and his shooting. And when you're on the Warriors, there's always room for a shooter, and you're going to get easy shots playing off the gravity that Steph Curry plays with. The guys like Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, those guys require attention. Draymond Green and his cerebral passing, that requires attention. So maybe even Pat Baldwin, because we all know Steve Kerr likes to give everybody a shot. So maybe Pat Baldwin will make some first impressions when he gets his minutes. But the last thing is, and it's going to sound crazy because Steph Curry is one of the 10 best players of all time, but Steph can get more efficient, which is insane to say because Steph Curry is one of the most efficient players in NBA history. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but Steph did kind of have a down year in terms of percentages shooting the ball. This is the only time in his career, and I'm not going to count the 2019-20 season because he was literally injured 5 games in and was out for the season. So let's just throw that out the window. This is the only time in Steph's career where he shot 38% from 3. Which is fucking nuts that is considered a down year for Steph Curry. And then he shot 43% overall. He was also down in terms of 2-point percentage as well. I mean, that is not the hyper ultra efficient Steph Curry that we know, but defenses still guarded him like Steph Curry. Steph Curry still played like one of the 3 to 5 best players in the NBA. I have him second. If you look at his true shooting percentage too, it was still an elite 60.1, but that's the lowest true shooting percentage he had since the 2013-14 season. It was a 60.1. The 2014 season, his true shooting percentage was 61. And every year after that, it was at least above 62. In a lot of cases, it was 66.9 was one year, of course, in his unanimous MVP season. My point is, Steph Curry is super hyper efficient. He was still really efficient last year, but that was considered a down year for Steph Curry. And I think he's only going to regress back to the percentages he's accustomed to seeing, because I'm sure he's looking at his basketball reference page and is looking at that 38% from three and thinking, ugh. I think Steph is even going to be better, and in turn, that'll make the Warriors' offense even better. There are lineups in the playoffs that the Warriors use that I can see getting way better. I think James Wiseman is going to give the Warriors a new dimension that they never really had, and this championship team is adding a new dimension that I think is going to be super effective. I'm sure there are like one or two things I'm missing as to why the Warriors should be the odds-on favorite to win the championship, along with the Milwaukee Bucks, by the way. Did not forget about Milwaukee. That's actually going to be my NBA Finals, to be perfectly honest. But I think the Warriors, they're still scratching the surface of how good they can be because of the influx of young guys they have on top of the pillars that have propped up this franchise that has now won 4 championships, been to 6 NBA Finals, and I think they're going to go to another NBA Finals this year, and I think they're going to win another championship and repeat.